Greetings, lovers of sport. This is the grand finale of our Arena Football League Race to the Bottom. We're going to cover at least one team from every major era in the Arena Football League's long history. Now, I've already done 8 other videos preparing for this, so please do take some time and go back and look at them. But these are the eligible teams now. Number 1, the New York Knights that played in 1988. The San Antonio Force, which played in 1992, the Connecticut Coyotes, which played in 95 and 96, the New York City Hawks that played in 97, the New England Seawolves, which played in 99 and 2000, the Kansas City Brigade / Command, which played for a total of 5 years, and the Las Vegas Outlaws that played in 2015, and lastly, the Los Angeles Kiss that played for a few years near the end of the Arena Football League's run. Before I start this, I want to say again that this is in no way meant to disparage the players, coaches, staff, front office people, and all the people who worked so hard to make sure that professional sporting activities are available to the common man. I sincerely hope people will consider boycotting the NFL. Any reason to boycott the NFL is a good reason, in my opinion, but the reason I say that is that they have lost respect for the fan, as have most of the other Big Four leagues, in my opinion, but the NFL is spectacularly disrespectful to the fan. So again, thank you for all of the people that have worked so hard and committed so greatly to make sure that there are sporting activities, live professional sporting activities available. And that said, I'm starting the quarterfinals off, which this time I'm calling the Round of Shame. There's 4 games, and the first is the New York City Hawks against the San Antonio Force. So the City Hawks' mark of shame is that the only film I could find of their existence at all is from one of their wide receivers, Damon Bowers, who appeared on The Bachelorette and spoke about his time with the City Hawks a little bit.
When I got a call from the New York City Hawks of the Arena League.
They played for 2 seasons, and they are playing against the San Antonio Force, whose infamy derives from the fact that they were the first ever Arena Football League to be shut out. It was 50-0 against the Predators on the 13th of June, 1992. They also had the lowest field goal percentage in Arena Football League history at 11.8%, or 4 for 34. They had a record of 2-8, but on the merits of the Bachelorette alone, I'm sending the City Hawks forward. Next up is the Connecticut Coyotes against the New England Seawolves. Now, the Seawolves also once featured Damon Bowers, and I just can't allow a team to be put down, 2 teams to be put down for one very unfortunate thing. But the Coyotes played in 95 and 96. They had a 3-23 record, and they had an average attendance of 7,850. Whereas the Seawolves also had Mike Hohensee as a head coach, future Hall of Famer. But I'm going to go ahead and send the Coyotes forward to the next round. Game 3 is the Las Vegas Outlaws against the Kansas City Brigade / Command. So the Brigade played for 5 years, whereas the Outlaws were a one-and-done team. And Vince Neal, one of the owners, was responsible for this. Can you see? Game 4 is the Los Angeles Kiss versus the New York Knights. So the mark of infamy for the Kiss, aside from many of the other things I talked about in bracket 8, is the dance, which was just a cynical ploy to get some buzz around their team. And then there was the New York Knights that did have one bit of power forward, I guess you'd call it, for me, and that was that they had Jim Krisicia, and I apologize if I mispronounced his name. He had been a replacement player for the '87 Giants during the strike season. I don't remember offhand. I'm going to have to look it up. Who the New York team was in the movie The Replacements with the all-time great thespian Keanu Reeves, but they win a point for that, in my opinion. They were 2-10, and then Mr. Krosicia was done with football, but ultimately I do have to send the Knights forward. I just want to say before we begin our semifinal round that I do appreciate everybody who has in fact clicked on our links. There is a codeless coupon worth 20% off anything in our store if you go through that route, and that's going to be on all of our videos from now on. But in our semifinals, I've got the New York City Hawks against the Connecticut Coyotes. The City Hawks unfortunately lost their head coach. Chuck Shelton passed away on the 13th of February this year. The Coyotes were coached in their second season by a man named Joseph Larry Kurahich Jr., who had coached for the Gunslingers and the Invaders of the USFL. He was the offensive coordinator for them, and he was scheduled to coach for the Scottish Claymores of NFL Europe, but that did not come to be. Ultimately, I have to send the City Hawks forward. That may be some regionalism on my part. You tell me. Game number 2 of the semifinals is the Outlaws against the Knights. So, the Outlaws were involved in one of the only canceled games in Arena Football League history. There were a couple of others, but the league took over both the Outlaws and their proposed opponent, the New Orleans Voodoo. And so the scheduled home game for the Outlaws was canceled and declared a tie. That was on the 25th of July, 2015, as I recall. The Knights, however, they had Jim Valek, who had once been a New England Patriots assistant GM, and they get some credence because they were the Arena Football League's first attempt to get into New York. One of the big problems with all of these leagues is that you really need a national footprint to include New York and Los Angeles, probably Chicago, and unfortunately, there have been just many disastrous attempts. The Arena Football League had the City Hawks, the Knights, and later the Dragons, which were a little bit more successful. And then most recently, there was the National Arena League that had the very unfortunate Streets, who were just in a terrible facility, and it looked very unprofessional. Hopefully, somebody will figure out a way to bring a team affordably to New York. We will see. And that said, I'm sending the Knights forward. Again, that might just be regionalism on my part. So I've got 2 New York teams in the finals, the City Hawks and the Knights. So the City Hawks were owned by Madison Square Garden. They had a total attendance of 91,249, so they were averaging 6,517 a game, which again, in other markets might be respectable, but in New York it just seems like it could be. There's so much, it's such a bigger market that there should have been more. They had a 5-23 record. The Knights were just tenants at Madison Square Garden. They had a single season 46,565 total attendance, which averaged out at 7,760. They had a 2-10 record, but ultimately the worst team in Arena Football League history, in my opinion, was the New York City Hawks. Please let me know if you agree or disagree. Did we miss somebody? Please do like and subscribe and share in any way. It's very much appreciated. Have a great day.